Welcome to MyLITV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we've traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. MyLITV starts now.
My name is Yoshioka, and I'd like to introduce you to the basic techniques of quilling. First of all, the quilling paper comes packaged like this, and it usually comes in lengths of 24 inches. There's a needle tool and a slotted tool. Either one is fine. A lot of beginners like to use the slotted tool because it does have a little slot in there that holds the paper while you're curling it. I tend to use the needle tool for most of my work. And if you don't have either one of these, you can actually use a corsage pin. First you curl a little tail around, and as you curl the paper, you're going to catch that little tail around and just keep curling the paper around, keeping very even tension, consistent tension, not too tight. And then you're going to let it fall off the needle. I usually tell my students to practice this for about a half hour because this is the one thing that you've got to do well. You're going to take a little dot of glue, and I like to use toothpicks to apply my glue, and glue it down. And then when you glue that little tail down, then you can start shaping this piece with your fingers to form different shapes. And each shape has a name. It's a teardrop, a marquee, shaped marquee, and so on. These are the basic shapes of quilling. These are not glued down. These are just shaped using the needle tool. And then you put enough shapes together and you can form designs. This is called the fringing technique. And you start with a wider piece of paper. You make fine little cuts in the paper. Now you can do it using scissors, but there is a fringer that we use. You can start going like this, and it will actually cut the paper for you. And I will actually go ahead and demonstrate how to make a fringe flower. It's the same premise as wrapping the paper around the tool. The fringes are facing up. It's very important to use very little glue with quilling. And then while it's still on the tool, you actually just fan out the little fringes, and you've got a fringe flower. And these will show you the variations of the fringe flowers that we can make with quilling. You have a fringe flower with no center, or with a center, or with a large center. In this case, I used a little glitter glue in the center there. Or two-tone, you can use two different color paper. And this one is a graduated paper, which goes from light to dark in the same strip of paper. There's also a looping technique, which results in flowers like this. Just to loop the paper around itself, making sure that the loops are even, and you can make as many loops as you want, and then you could squeeze it and make a little petal. I use these for leaves a lot of times, or different kinds of flowers. Now there's a lot of different ways to make roses as well, but this is my favorite. This is a sculpted piece. It's not necessarily quilled, where you take little pieces of 3/8 inch wide paper and shaping each piece to form a little petal and gluing them around a little base. And then the center of the rose would be little tiny petals shaped like this, like half circles. And then you would come up with a rose that looks very, very lifelike. There's also crimping. You would actually put the paper right through the two gears, and these are used for border designs, or you can actually loop them to make different kinds of designs. It adds depth and dimension to pieces. Now this looks like an onion slicer that you'd buy in the supermarket, which it is, but we also use them in quilling to wrap the paper around the little spokes. It comes up with a little fan shape, which can be used in flowers or leaves, butterflies. It could be used for a lot of different things. So these are the basic techniques of quilling. I've shown you the basic rolls and scrolls and fringing and roses and some of the other basic things that you can do. If you are interested in learning more about quilling, I do have a website. It's called artistaquills.com.